Okay guys, so I finished finally the 24-hour readathon. I feel like my brain is literally like rotting right now. I literally cannot read anymore. I will not process any more words. So anyways, I just want to do a little recap on all of the books that I read in this readathon. So I read a total of 4 books, which is more than what I anticipated I was going to read. I was only going to read 3 books, but then I ended up having some extra time, so I read 4 books. Technically 3 books and 1 novella. So the first book that I read is That's Not My Name by Lally. I think that's how you pronounce her name. So basically this book is a dual point of view mystery thriller. One of the point of view are following this girl who basically like woke up in the middle of nowhere, not knowing who she is, where she's from. And the other point of view is about this guy whose girlfriend went missing 5 weeks ago, and then basically the whole town is kind of accusing him of murdering his girlfriend, and we're just following their point of view to see what actually happened and how their stories kind of connect to each other. This was the first book that I read in this whole 24-hour readathon, and I have not been able to stop thinking about it. Like, if there's any one book that I would recommend you guys to read in this video, it's definitely this one. And it's so surprising because I have not heard anybody talk about this book at all, but you're hearing it from me. You should read it. It's very much a page turner. It's moving at a not super fast, but a fast enough pace that it's like very easy to read, and it keeps me interested to read it. But I gave it a 4 star because I don't know what I feel towards the ending of this book. Like, it's definitely like a more realistic kind of ending. I just don't know how I feel about it, but that is the first book that we read in this video. So the second book that we read is Every Summer After by Carley Fortune. Now, unfortunately, I did not have as good of a time reading this. I tried switching between audiobooks and reading it physically, but I just cannot find myself to care about the characters. It's basically about this girl named Percy who just moved into this vacation house. I don't really remember where exactly they live, but she has a neighbor, two boys. One name is Sam and the other is Charlie, and basically it's just the romance between her and Sam, and I feel like it could have been cute. Now, I do have to say, I read this at the peak hour of 3 a.m. when my brain is literally like at its rotting era. So I don't know if it's because of that, but I just feel like the romance was kind of flat and it didn't really like excite me in any ways, and I just feel like it was not interesting. Like, I literally could not find it in me to care about any of the characters. So that's why it took me quite a while to actually finish this book, and I was so tired after finishing this book. It was not a good choice to read this book for this 24-hour readathon, but anyways, I gave it a 2-star. The next book that I read is You'll Be the Death of Me by Karen M. McManus. The only other book that I've read from this author is One of Us is Lying, which is her most famous book, I think. And whilst I didn't really like the plot of that book, I decided to pick another one of her books because when I was reading One of Us is Lying, it was like very easy to read and it was very fast, and it was honestly the same with this book. Like, I feel like the character was at least not annoying and is interesting enough for me to read about, and the plot in itself is quite interesting, and again, very much a page turner book. It kept me interested all throughout the story and it was very easy to read. That was like, I think, is her best quality for her writing. It's just that there's something about how she ends her books where she just literally pulls out the plot twist out of thin air, and it's the same with this book as well. And I was like, where did this come from? Like, how did we get here? Like, you want to make a good plot twist where it was not guessed by the reader, but I just felt like it was really just out of nowhere and was again pulled out of thin air. But that's why I gave this book a 3-star. But it was really good for this readathon because I was really tired by the time I was reading this book, and it kept me going. So that was at least one of its redeeming qualities. That's why I would always recommend this author if you're kind of in a reading slump and just needed something that is very easy to read. This one is not that bad. The next and the last book that I read is Powerful by Lauren Roberts. By the time I was reading this book, I had around 3 hours left into the timer, and I just wanted to find something that was like very short for me to read. That's why I decided to pick up this novella. I just read Powerless a couple of days ago, so I was like, okay, let me just continue the story by reading this novella. If you read Powerless, you know how the book ends, and basically the ending of that book and this book is exactly the same. It's just that it's following a different point of view. This time we are following the main character from Powerless's best friend Adina's point of view, and a new character which I don't know how to pronounce, so I will not pronounce in this video. But basically we're following their point of view to, again, just the ending of Powerless. I feel like I really like the character in this book, and I really like their romance. It was definitely like a more cutesy kind of romance, and it's very beautiful. It's just that it's kind of depressing to know the ending of this book and basically read the events leading up to this book. It's just like from a different point of view, but I thought it was still a really good read. I gave it a 4 stars, and I honestly cannot wait for the second book to come out. It's coming out in July, and I literally have to read it like right now. There's like a new snippet of the second book in this novella as well at the end, which we didn't have in Powerless, so I was able to read that, and I'm honestly so excited. I think it's worth the read if you really like the world and the character from Powerless as well. So I thought it was still a good read. It was able to take up the last few hours of the readathon that I had, and yeah, I still recommend everyone to read this book. So basically, this is all of the books that we read. I hope you guys enjoy this readathon and watching me basically lose my mind and literally cannot comprehend anything else after this whole 24-hour of no sleep. But thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!